Okay, 8.7, the first problem says solve the systems of equations by graphing. So on a piece of graph paper, you got two equations on this first problem. Y equals negative 3x plus 2 and y equals 2x minus 3. Now you have to solve for x and y, okay? Just put that up here somewhere. And the way on graphing is to find out where the lines cross. So, you make a table and you just set each equation on the table on top. Y equals negative 3x plus 2, y equals 2x minus 3. Now, is the y by itself? Yes, it is. So you have your m and your b. So it should be easy to graph each line at least. So slope, negative 3 over 1, and the y-int is positive 2. Okay, so on the y-axis, you go up to 2. Remember, positives this way, so 1, 2. And then from that point, not from the middle, I use my slope. So forward 1, down 3. Or down 3, forward 1. It doesn't matter, okay? Okay, now you need a straight edge to graph. These lines have to be accurate. They can't just be sloppy if you're ever going to find the intersection point. Okay, then in the other equation, the y is also by itself, so you have your slope and y-intercept right away. Okay, you don't have to rewrite the equation or any of that nonsense. So slope is 2 over 1, okay, and then minus negative 3 is the y-intercept. So on that y, remember, negatives this way, so negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Then from that point, I go forward 1, up 2. Now there's already a point there, so circle it and then do it again. So I pretty much know where they're going to cross, okay? I don't need to make a point there. Okay, so they cross right there. Now what point is that? You have to know how to label the point. You start in the middle, you went 1 to the right, okay? Remember, positives this way. So I went 1 to the right, so x is 1. Then I went down 1, so y is negative 1. Okay. So that's your answer, 1, negative 1. Okay, next problem. X plus y equals 3, x minus y equals 5. This one's going to be more work. X plus y equals 3, x minus y equals 5. Now, the y's are not by themselves, so we can't do the MB. We have to get the y by itself. So I'm going to blow up that table. You can continue to write on that, but on the video, I'm going to need to blow it up so you can see better what I'm doing, because that's tight to write, especially on a blurry camera. Okay, so I make the wall. I'm going to put 1s in front of x, y. Okay, that's your y, circle it. Make sure that's a positive number that's multiplied by y. It is, so we don't switch the signs. Don't switch. Now, if that was a negative 1 times y, I'd be switching, but it's not. So I minus 1x, and then I make a 0x and minus 1x from there. Now remember, you drop the x down. 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and then plus 3. Now you just need to divide all three of these separately by 1. Alright, so negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. And then 3 divided by 1 is 3. So now you have y by itself, so you have your m and b. You're going to reapply a 1 there because that's your slope, and that needs to be a fraction to graph it. So negative 1 over 1, and then plus 3. Okay, so plus 3 on the y. Remember, this is the y, this is the plus. 1, 2, 3. Then from that point, I will go forward 1, but down 1. Okay. And that can keep going, obviously. It's a pattern, but we have our line. Okay, then this one. x minus, again, you didn't have the y by itself, so you can apply 1's plus negative, and when that's a negative, you need to do the sign switch signs, all these. So that goes from a positive 1 to a negative 1, that goes from negative to positive, that's positive to negative. The whole point is so that number doesn't end up negative, because we want to go to the right. So plus 1x, then I make a 0x and add 1x. Okay, so x, 0 plus 1 is 1, and then minus 5. Okay. Or plus negative 5, and then divided by 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1, 1x. Negative 5 divided by 1 is negative 5. So now the y is by itself, and I can do my MB. Remember, we reapply the 1 because that's my slope. Okay. If I have a whole number as my slope, I make it into a fraction by putting a 1 under it. So 1 over 1, negative 5. Okay, so negative 5 on the y. Remember, on the y, the negatives here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you go forward 1, up 1. And they cross. I just make my own point where they cross. Okay. Okay, what is that point? What's the XY point? Well, we start in the middle, so you're moving this way first. So that's positive for x. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have to move down, so negative 1 for the y. 4, negative 1. Okay, now you're going to want to get a piece of notebook paper if you don't have the packet. And the next 4 I'm not solving by graphing. I'm solving by substitution or elimination, depending on if I can find a letter by itself to use as my base. So here's the first problem. You want to make 8 boxes. We're going to use 4 for each problem. If you want to pause the video and set that up, go for it. Okay, so the first system, negative 5x plus 3y equals 51, and then y equals 10x minus 8. So you have to solve for x and y. Alright, I don't have a base there. I don't have a letter by itself. I do here, though. Y is the base. It's equal to 10x plus negative 8. Now, that means I'm using the substitution method. So write your non-base, negative 5x plus 3y equals 51. So take your y, remove that, because that's your base, and you replace it with 10x plus negative 8. So I write everything down the same until I get to the parentheses. Now I'm to the parentheses. I put 10x plus negative 8, then close it. Now after the parentheses is closed here, we have an equals 51. Okay, now I have x, and I can solve for x, okay? So 3 times 10x times negative 8. So that's 30x and negative 24. So line up your equals, drop your 51, drop your plus, okay? And now that's 30x and negative 24. So that is deleted, but we still have to add the negative 5x. Okay, now we have x, but they're on the same side, okay? Same side of the equals, we just combine them through addition. Same side, see, they're not on both sides of the equals. They're both together on the left-hand side, so we just add them. So I add those, and they add to 25. Then we add negative 24 before equals 51. Now it's an easy equation, okay? So take out your negative 24 by adding 24. 51 plus 24 is 75, then divide by 25. 75 divided by 25 is 3. So x has a value of 3. Now what's the y value? So if I have to find y, just copy the equation where the y is by itself. 3 goes in for x. I'll repeat that again. 3 goes in for x. Put a times dot between those two. Now, so you got y equals 10 times 3. You can put it in parentheses or not. I don't really care. Plus negative 8. Now, make a wall on the side of your letter. There's nothing else over there, okay? So what you're going to do is just go down here, drop the y down, write equals, and forget about it, and just do the math, okay? 10 times 3 is 30. 30 plus negative 8 is 22, okay? Okay, so again, when you have the letter, make a wall, and if it's by itself, just write it all the way down, then cross it out and figure out the other side by the basic operations, okay? Alright, next problem. X equals 17 minus 4y, and y equals x minus 2. Now, I have a base here or here, so it doesn't matter. Okay, let's just use x as the base. Okay, plus negative. So write the other equation, y equals x minus 2. So you apply 1's plus negative, and then replace your base, okay, x. X is the base, so that's the one you take out. You put 17 plus negative 4y. Okay, so you got 1y equals 1. Now I get to my parentheses and I put the expression 17 plus negative 4y. Now go up and trace where the parentheses is closed, and after that you have a plus negative 2. Okay, you got y and y. We can solve for y. So I distribute the 1 to 17 and negative 4y. Negative 4y, 17 negative 4y. And that's gone. We have to add the negative 2. Now, the y's are not on the same side. The y's are on both sides. So get that one to 0. Okay, plus 4y, plus 4y. So 5y equals 17 plus negative 2. Now, you mark the operation of the times. Now you're going to divide by 5, but I need to add those two together. Okay, so I add them, and it's 15. So now I'm dividing 15 by 5. I can add those. There's no letter attached to either one. So I add them. I don't keep them separate. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. Okay. Y is 3. Y, all you got to do is put 3 under the y. Now I have to solve for the x. Use the equation that's got the x by itself. 3 goes in for y. Put the times dot. So you have x equals 17 plus negative 4 times 3. Put a wall on your x side. There's nothing with the x. There's nothing going on, so just drop it all the way down, cross it out here, and just figure out what that is. You times first, then 17 plus negative 12 is 5. Times and add, simple as that. Okay, it's just like an expression. Okay, now on the other side, 3x minus y equals 30, negative 3x plus 7y equals 6. Now, unfortunately here I don't have a base variable, okay? Okay, so when I don't have a base, I organize these into columns. That's a 1 with a plus negative. Now, after I do that, I'm going to write my first 3x plus negative 1y equals 30. That's for later. Okay. Now let's try to add these and see if either the x's or y's add to 0. So if I add 3 to negative, boom, 0. I know they're going to add to 0 without even adding because they're opposites of the same thing. So 0x. And then I do add the rest of it. Negative 1 plus 7 is 6y. 30 plus 6 is 36. Okay, 0x is deleted. Okay. So divide both sides by 6, and y equals 6. So in the coordinate, the xy coordinate, 6 for y. Now 6 goes in for y. Okay, you want to times that. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. So you got 3x plus negative 6 equals 30. Now, find the letter. Put a wall on the side where the letter's at. Is x by itself? Heck no. Okay, so that's when you put the dot circle and solve the problem. Plus 6 plus 6. So 36. Divide by 3. Divide by 3, and you get 12. So x is 12. 12 and 6. Okay, last problem in this video. Once again, we don't have a base, so we organize them into columns and use the elimination method. Now, after I do that, I want to write the first equation down for later. That's for later. That's to get the second variable. But to get the first, I got to have the x's or the y's add up to 0. 4 plus 5, 4 add 5, that's 9. Okay. Negative 3, negative 2, that doesn't add to 0 either. Okay. And you don't have the same here or here, so you're timesing. Times, times, times. You need to multiply. But there's no chance you could get 0. Okay, so I got a 5, so 5, 5, 5, and a 4, 4, 4, 4. And I come over here and just rewrite it. Because 5 times 4 and 5 times 4, then I'm going to have the same thing in front of the x. So 20x, 5 times negative 3 is negative 15y, and then 5 times 8 is 40. Now at bottom, 5 times 4 is 20x, negative 2y times 4 is negative 8y, negative 11 times 4 is negative 44. Now realign the columns. Now, nothing adds to 0, but I at least have the same item right there. So if I made one of them negative, they would add to 0. But then I have to go through and make that opposite to positive and that opposite to positive. So negative 15 plus 8 is negative 7y. 40 plus 44 is 84. So I get the 0 so I can get rid of it. Now divide each side by negative 7. 84 divided by negative 7 is negative 12. That goes in for y. So negative 3 times 12. Circle the two numbers you're going to be timesing. Okay. Negative 3 times 12 is negative 36. Okay. So we have 4x plus negative 36 equals 8. Now that the what's my letter? Letter's x. Make a wall on the x side. Is x by itself? No. So that's when I bring in the dot circle. Add 36. Add 36. 4 times x. 8 plus 36 is 44. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. 44 divided by 4 is 11. Okay. So there you have it. 11, negative 12.